Hey there. Welcome back to the Surge. And Launch Pad 1. It's time to put a stop to Project Utopia. Because I don't know about you, but I would really rather not become a nanobot drone.
Project Resolve and CREO will change everything.
Hey, Jonah.
We're looking at a new dawn for mankind. Look at us. Look at us as a species. We deserve to exist. There are no gods but the ones we make, and they were always made in our image. We are artists, engineers, writers, poets, musicians, scientists, geniuses. Every single one of us has that spark. The mistake we made, and yes, we made mistakes. That's another beautiful facet of being human, and being big enough to admit it is another. The big mistake we made was thinking we were masters of our domain, rather than a partner. No, not even that. She's called Mother Earth for a reason. No one else has nurtured us, provided for us, kept us safe, but we cast her aside, arrogant, smug in our superiority, our technology. Well, the one good thing about our science is that with a lot of hard work, and it's going to take all of us, we've got a chance to turn things around now. Don't you want to wake up to a brighter future? I know I do. Wealth is worthless when people are hungry, sick, and the planet is dying outside your window. I get it. I finally get it. That's why I decided to make a difference. We can all make a difference. We just have to want to do it. It's exciting, right? We're at the gateway to a new frontier here. Project Resolve and CREO will change everything. We're looking at a new dawn for mankind.
And so it continues.
T-9 hold is now in effect, awaiting status.
But there's good news. Up there in the booth, it seems like the Project Utopia nanobots have run wild and taken over the whole system. But now that we've disabled part of the rockets, you may recall we took out one of the 3 parts of the assembly line earlier, it seems they're stymied a little bit, which means we have some time. So, let's get a move on, shall we? Because I don't think they're gonna let us through without a fight. That last log from Jonah Gutenberg is interesting. There's really no telling when it was made, but it's about Project Resolve, not Utopia, implying that I suppose it was made before Utopia was launched, before Utopia was even an idea in R&D, or it could be that's Jonah speaking in an unofficial capacity. Who knows? He sounded very, shall we say, normal.
So you're still alive. Kind of ironic, isn't it? We made it this far, just to end up here.
Hey, Alec.
You found what you're looking for? I don't think there are any answers. At least not for me.
What's going on?
Are you okay? No, I'm not okay. Take a good look outside there. Don't you see it? Tell me you don't. Because if this is our future, man, I'd rather be crazy.
What happened here? What do you know about these things?
Nothing. It wasn't my department. I worked in AI. We had very little to do with the nanite program. Look, I don't know what happened, but if they're learning, developing, my God, if they're conscious...
What's wrong? Where's Maddie?
I lost her. I tried to get us out of here, tried to protect her, but she ran away. She didn't understand. She thought it was all a game. I can't live like this.
Oh no, don't give up hope. Not yet.
It's not over yet. If she's out there, I can find her.
No, you won't. How could she have survived out there? I should have protected her. I should have been there, but I wasn't. I never was.
Oh, don't you worry.
Take care of yourself. There's always hope.
Hope? No, there's no hope. Not here. Not anymore.
Oh, you're wrong on that one, buddy. As long as we have our bodies and our exosuits, we can do anything. What have we here?
I'm not going to be able to make it. Yes, I see the irony. I'm the one who said don't be late. It's just too dangerous. I'm going straight to the terminal. It's all falling apart down here. Hurry. I'll see you there shortly.
So that message is from Dr. Chavez's contact, who we are intended to deliver the virus to. It seems that she already got a move on, because, well, the place is getting a little bit more nanobody by the minute. And so, here in the final area of the surge, most of the enemies have been taken over by these nanobot drone things. There are some Project Utopia bots running around here and there, and a couple of zombified security guards who were unable to make it out before the zombie cryptid crystallized monsters took over, like these guys. Kind of reanimated beyond death by horrible scientific amalgamations. You know, the usual fare for science fiction. And they will serve as our enemies for this final segment. I really like the occasional messages we are going to be getting about Project Utopia getting incrementally closer to launching. Along the way, we have done the best we can to stop it, but it seems like our interruptions only delayed the inevitable. In order to stop Project Utopia from launching, we will have to destroy the rocket. But the good news is that we might not have to, because if we inject the virus, then the nanobots will be neutralized, which means that the rocket can launch or not launch. It doesn't matter. Although I suppose it would be best if the nanobots weren't jettisoned out into space on a Project Resolve rocket, where they could just, you know, live out their days germinating and learning and growing like they have been. Because that's how this whole thing started. The nanobots gained sentience and grew out of control. Because as it turns out, the whole gray goo thing, yeah, that's not just a hypothetical. If you make gray goo, it really will happen. And I suppose now we know that much very well. I love this area. I think this area is a great way to finish off the game, because it is a purely scientific area, well lit, lots of loopbacks and shortcuts and maintenance tunnels for the workers. It feels like a industrial rocket preparation area, which is what it is. But what I also like is you saw when I used the elevator that brought up the ops center, that it said the ops center was arriving at the first floor. This area has a really cool gimmick where the ops center moves, and we can use elevators on each floor to move it up and down. So that's pretty cool. And we can use the mobile ops center to, say, jump on the roof or explore underneath it to gain access to some new shortcuts and stuff. It's cool because it lets you decide when you want to, when you're ready to tap out, right? Because if you move the ops center, the only way to get back down to the next floors is to walk down there, because the ops center isn't going to be down there anymore. And you can jump down from the top to most of the areas, but then you have to go the long way back up if you move the ops center back down. So it forms a pretty interesting player decision where you got to choose between safety or ease of access. Because all of the shortcuts lead down to the bottom, but the ops center might not be there anymore, you see. And that's the trade-off that I think is really, really cool. I also appreciate that this area isn't just completely stuffed full of nanobots, because, man, that would be excruciating.
They're feeding on me. They consume and process the organic matter they find.
Abort advisory is cleared.
Well, great. Unfortunately, the launch canceled another log from the good doctor. You remember the doctor who injected himself with the nanobots? Well, eventually he found his way here, and who knows? For all we know, he might still be here. That log, the first sentence of that log actually pretty much comprises the gist of it, so I didn't bother to replay it. So, sorry, but the first sentence pretty much tells you what it would be about. So when I recorded the Let's Play, I'm much better at it now, but when I recorded the Let's Play, I was not very good at the Kung Fu Rising Knee. But it's extremely effective on the nanobots, because a lot of their attacks, like that one, do a ton of damage in a lot of swings really fast. And if you just duck down, it doesn't actually hit you. The gimmick behind these nanobot guys is that they have the ability to change which parts of their body are armored, and if you attack an unarmored part, it will take the armor away from another part and armor up the part you were just hitting. So, doing fast damage to them is kind of a challenge, but if you backstab them, it ignores the armor, or do the rising knee, so you can cheese these guys pretty easy if you want.
Log 11. There's no escaping here. How can I run from what's inside me? Staying is my only chance to survive. If I can't find a solution here, what chance does the outside world have? Plus, somebody has to witness this miracle. After all, it's the dawn of a new era. The first steps in the life of a new being. If I'm to die here, it will not be in vain.
He sounds pretty, he sounds like he's experiencing a little bit of cognitive dissonance now. I mean, I think the good doctor is understanding, or at least starting to understand the problem with his whole nanobot infection for research and stuff. You can't really share your findings if you've been taken over by the nanobots who have consumed your consciousness. I think that's one major thing about Project Utopia that Dr. Barrett and all of the other Project Utopia cheeseheads have missed, is that you can't really be a part of the experiment if you're dead. Like, okay, so let's say that Project Utopia succeeds and the nanobots ascend humanity to be able to survive the harmful effects of Project Resolve in the new world with toxic goop. Let's just say that hypothetically that comes to pass. But what I would question is, like, well, why does it even matter if people survive? Because they're just going to be taken over by the nanobots, and the nanobots will be doing their own thing, using the humans as host consciousnesses. I mean, we've been fighting them for the whole episode now, and some of the last episode, so we have ample evidence of that. Oh well. I guess we'll think about it in the next episode. For now, it's time for some nanocores. Everything's nanocores these days. Nanobots, nanocores. Someone in the thread was actually just asking about what those power boxes do. I haven't made mention of them at all, I believe, over the course of our journey, because I haven't been able to open them yet. But once you get to the end level stages of the game, Warren will probably be a high enough power core level that you will be able to pop them open, and inside is our final tier of upgrade material. Nanocores.
Not a scheduled break time.
Nanocores are extremely valuable. and they're only dropped from one enemy sometimes. So you want to make sure that you have, you know, a good amount of them in stock if you plan on going to New Game Plus and all that. One of our final weapons here we picked up at the beginning of this episode. It is the Fractal Reaver.
Please remember, safety at work is our highest priority.
We are
and
ending
should
this
be
thing
yours.
where it began, with a single rigged weapon that attacks really, really fast. That's the gimmick of the Fractal Reaver. It is like 1.5 times to 2 times as fast as any of the other single rigged weapons, and it's kind of nuts actually. This thing has really high damage potential. It's very good. The nanobot weapons that you get at the end of this game are astounding. There we go. I did a perfect dodge there. And it's never gonna happen again. I really like how this area is laid out, too. The Surge does not have very many areas that are strictly vertical. A lot of the areas in this game like wind up and down a lot with ladders and elevators, stairs, or whatever. Lots of ways to get up and down and cross over your paths, but there aren't really any areas that are explicitly designed like with verticality in mind. So that thing I mentioned a minute ago about being able to jump down from the top, we're actually going to make use of that because it's much easier than going all the way up and then fighting your way back down. But even then, the fighting's not so bad at this point, really, because we're getting to the end of the game, so we don't really need body parts or anything anymore. Meaning, we can just attack enemies however the hell we want. And I suppose Dr. Chavez's little bumblebees went this way because we're finding the red graffiti from her folks. All along, technically speaking, we've been following their path. It just so happens that their path is also the way that we want to go. So in order to open the payload so that we can actually put the virus on the rocket, we're gonna need to open a couple of doors, which requires running around in these tunnels. Putting the virus on the rocket, believe it or not, is actually optional. You don't have to do it, which I think is kind of funny. I think it's kind of funny that you can come all this way and then not put the virus on the rocket and finish the game. But anyway, you don't have to do any of this. There is a shortcut-ish out of this area. But we're gonna attempt to stick on our anti-poo gas helmet and fail, because these tunnels are flooded with toxic goop and poo gas. Because remember, this was used for Project Resolve before it became the launchpad for Utopia of late. I believe this is the way out of here. I think there's another elevator at the top of this shaft that takes you to the end.
It's not just building structures anymore. It's creating life. Being recreated. Abstract abominations. Are we integrated into the system? Or souls still there as echoes? Do memories exist within it? Or are we just nutrients? Fertilizer for an Eden we'll never get to see or understand.
Oh my god! It's nanobots! And you know what? It's funny. I actually think the Doctor is right on both counts. Because, I mean, you remember what Davey said about what voices and Irina said about echoes screaming down the wire and all that stuff. And now we have these things. We got big blobby nanobots that shoot nano gribblies at us. These things are the worst enemy in the game. Those things suck so bad because like, they can't be killed by normal means. You'll see in the next episode, I think I fight one, but generally I try to ignore them because they don't die when you deplete their health. Sometimes, not all the time, they burst apart into a blob of nano gribblies, which you can then stick your fist into and overload it to kill them, which immobilizes you, but it's okay. It destroys the gribbly, but it ain't worth it.
Rebooting sector.
There we go. So now that we've opened that door, when we pass by, now that we've overloaded that circuit, when we pass by the payload door, the payload will be there so we can stick on the virus. I hope that Dr. Chavez's pal is there, but at this point, I'm kind of not holding out hope. So yeah, the nano gribblies are extremely tough, they are extremely angry, and they are extremely ready to kick your ass.
I know this isn't the news you want to hear, but we're still on hold. You've all worked incredibly hard to achieve this goal. It won't be for nothing, I can assure you. Utopia will launch.
I don't want it to launch. I don't want it to. That, like, I'm so tired of people being like, no, but the whole nano gribbly taking over humanity thing, that's just gonna happen. Bummer, but it's just an inevitability. Nothing is inevitable at this point. Look at what we've done. Look at what we've been through. Take a look back at our journey so far, and think about how many improbable things we've done to survive. And yet we've made it this far. Everybody's saying that there's no choice but to give up and give in to the nanobot revolution, but I'm not doing it. I don't want to become a gribbly. If there's anything that we have learned from my Let's Plays over the years, it's that becoming a gribbly is the last thing that a human being could ever want. And yet, time after time, you've got somebody in some of my Let's Plays who's always like, no, gribblies are great. There's always some character who's like, no, give in to the gribble. But don't do it. Don't give in to the gribble. So that train there on the left is a new shortcut. You can actually interact with the door there and take the train back to Central Production B. Nothing has changed, I think, but it serves as a shortcut that kind of lets you make one last-minute trip back around to collect anything you missed. Because after we drop down here into the nanobot hole, we have kind of reached the point of no return for the Nucleus. Because there's no way back up from here.
Attention. All non-essential personnel must exit the launch area immediately.
The shortcut was actually changed after the release of the CREO World DLC. Initially, the train led out to where the CREO World train currently is. It used to lead out on that track. But with the release of the CREO World DLC, they actually changed the geometry. Nice! I don't think I've ever cut off a right arm or a left arm rather, with a single rig weapon. So there you go. I've shown it off. I'm a completionist. Anyway, they added a new train track to the side of the original one. So hey, it's kind of cool that they thought about the logistics of it. That's kind of neat. Now let's open this damn door without getting killed by the gribblies, who are going to try to swing through us while we overcharge this circuit. Fuck you, gribblies. It's not even worth it to fight you. These are the enemies that drop nano cores, by the way, so if you want nano cores, this is how you get them. But again, it's not worth it. Up here around the corner, we can raise up the ops center to the 3rd level, however. which will allow us access to the whole area. You know, just in case we happen to die like a big dumb idiot. Not saying that this part of the game is really difficult and it's easy to die or anything like that, but boy, is this part of the game difficult and it's easy to die. And hey look, it's standing right in my way. Thanks, jerk.
This is not a scheduled break time.
But at least we made it up to the control booth, so that's nice. There's even more gribbly bots here that are going to try to stop us, but let me just say that I haven't died to any gribbles so far, and I'm not going to die to any gribbles anytime soon. Now let's open up that launch pad. All we gotta do now is put the virus on the rocket and stop it from launching. I'll see you next time.